The day after I died, my wife was already running back to her high school sweetheart. While I was missing, presumed alive, she'd scoff. What game is he trying to play now? When she got the call to identify the body, she assumed she'd be able to see the look on my face when my plot failed. But she didn't know I'd been dead for days. The clock struck midnight. I stared at the melting sky, blue frosting on the cake on the table. The single candle stuck in it had burned down to nothing. My birthday was quietly over. I slowly walked to the table, looked at the forgotten cake, picked it up, and took a bite. "Happy birthday," I said to myself. Then, without a second thought, I threw the entire cake in the trash. Late that night, she came home. I looked toward the woman walking in through the door. "You're back." Lily Thompson looked at me with a cold gaze, frowning in displeasure. "Besides drinking, can you do anything useful?" I swirled the whiskey in my glass and smiled. "Drinking is useful." Then I stumbled over to her. "Whiskey's a good thing. Here, take a drink." I held the glass to her lips. She narrowed her eyes and slapped my hand away. "You need to go to bed." The force was enough to spill most of the bourbon from the glass. The slap sobered me up a bit. I sat down the glass and turned to look at her. "Today's my birthday." Hearing this, Lily's eyes flickered for a moment, but returned to normal just as quickly. "Since it's my birthday, I guess I should get a gift," I sighed. "If you won't give me one, I'll give you one." Saying that, I took a file from the drawer next to the couch and tossed it on the table. "This is my gift to you." Her eyes scanned the file's cover. The words divorce agreement jumped out. She frowned and asked quietly, "What game are you trying to play now? The two families forced this marriage on us, trapping you with me for all these years. You've suffered, haven't you? You've always been thinking about your high school boyfriend. Go find him." I handed her the divorce agreement. Before she could react, I gently kissed her forehead. She shoved me away hard. After only a few seconds, I almost fell. Lowering my eyes, I said, "It's pretty sad that we ended up like this. It seems like we're not meant to be together for life." Lily's voice was still cold. "If you'd realized that years ago, we wouldn't have had to torture each other like this." "It's my fault," I forced a smile. "Looks like this sin can only be atoned for with death." Lily smirked. "You think you have the guts to die?" I paused, my voice dropping slightly. "If I die, next life I won't love you again." "You can tell me when you're dead," Lily said, turning and walking away. The door slammed shut. She was gone again. The smile faded from my lips. She still hated me so much. I gave a bitter laugh. I sat down on the couch and took another file from the drawer. My medical report. Terminal cancer. Those suffocating words were printed on the last page of the report. I closed my eyes and held them shut for a long time, then opened them and tore the report to shreds. The scraps of paper scattered across the floor. I looked at the wedding ring on my finger, gently rubbing it. Then I slowly took it off and placed it on the table. The next morning, I packed all my things and threw them in the car. Without even eating breakfast, I drove away from the mansion. I drove straight ahead, gradually leaving the city behind, and got on the coast highway. I rolled down the window. The wind that blew in was cold and refreshing, whipping my hair around. "Goodbye forever, Lily Thompson." I jerked the steering wheel to the right, released my hands, and floored the gas pedal. Bang! The car slammed into the cliff face on the right at full speed. The front of the car crumpled. Red blood began to pool beneath the driver's seat. Even though I was dead, my spirit lingered. I thought I could finally be free of Lily Thompson after death, but for some reason, my soul was always around her. 60 floors up in Global Enterprises, I floated to her office. After her parents died in a car accident, she took over the company. Her secretary brought her a strong coffee, and I followed her into the office. "Ms. Thompson, the video conference with Y starts at 9:30. The meeting materials are on your desk." Lily nodded slightly, but I noticed something was missing from her finger. That's right, the wedding ring. Even though Lily didn't treat me well, she never took off her wedding ring. But today, the ring was gone from the ring finger on her left hand, leaving only a faint red mark. "Right, we're divorced. There's no need to wear the ring anymore." I felt a pang in my chest, like I was suffocating. I didn't know ghosts could still have feelings. Around noon, I checked the time, like I always used to. For the past 5 years, I'd gone to Lily's office to bring her lunch, day in and day out. But today, I wasn't there. Her secretary, Ava, seemed to suspect something. She quickly ordered takeout for Lily. 30 minutes later, the food arrived. "Ms. Thompson, lunch is here." Ava left after putting the takeout down. Lily finished her work, opened the container, and frowned slightly after only one bite. It seemed like she noticed that the taste might be different. She ate a few bites and then set it aside. Her phone buzzed on the table. I glanced at it and saw a familiar name. Her eyes stayed fixed on the document. She picked up the phone and answered. Lily, are you off work yet? Lily lowered her eyes and looked at the phone screen, the corners of her mouth tilting up slightly. Yeah, almost. Then let's have dinner together tonight. Lily looked at the files on her desk and quietly agreed. Okay. Lily picked up the pace, finished reading the file in her hand, and left the office. The Continental Hotel. Lily's car pulled up in the distance. Ethan Brown adjusted his jacket and waited for her to get out with a smile. Lily walked toward him. Have you been waiting long? Ethan naturally put his arm around her shoulders. No, I just got here. Lily's body visibly stiffened for a moment, but she quickly relaxed. The two walked into the French restaurant on the third floor of the Continental Hotel. Ethan chivalrously pulled out a chair for Lily and ordered a few of her favorite dishes. I couldn't help but feel like this was pathetic. Lily never once ordered me food. Every time I eagerly put food on her plate and looked at her with hopeful eyes, she'd say coldly, Michael, do you have any self-respect? Can you save some energy? Harry seemed to be in a good mood, his face constantly showing a smile. One by one, the beautiful dishes were placed on the table. Harry maintained his proper manners, even occasionally putting food on her plate. Lily raised her eyes to look at him. Are you feeling better? Harry continued cutting his steak. Much better. It's just a stomach ache, an old problem. It won't bother me if I eat regularly. I don't remember you having stomach problems when we were in college. Harry paused and looked her in the eyes. I was taken care of so well by you back then, I didn't have the chance to get sick. Lily lowered her eyes. I didn't take care of you. Harry put down his knife and fork, his eyebrows slightly furrowed. Michael robbed you of 5 years, and I forced myself to stay with someone else for 5 years. But we both know that you can't force feelings. We deeply love each other. If Michael hadn't come between us, we could have been together 5 years ago. Yes, it's all my fault. Now I'm finally gone, giving you two what you wanted. Lily seemed to recall all the unpleasantness she'd experienced 5 years ago, her face filled with a bit of guilt. I'm sorry. Harry got up and walked beside her, bending down. No, it's not your fault. Michael and his family used their power to force us apart. We were powerless back then. We couldn't resist. He looked at her face, his eyes finally landing on her red lips. He slowly leaned in. In the blink of an eye, Lily almost subconsciously turned her head, dodging his kiss. I was curious about what she was thinking at that moment, why she had that kind of reaction. Could she be worried about the things I told her? Lily, after we get married, stay away from other men. They all have impure intentions. Only I truly love you. I shook my head, feeling like I was deceiving myself. Why would she care about what I said? Harry's face froze. He stood up straight. I apologize. I forgot that you're married. We're divorced. When she said these words, Lily subconsciously touched the spot on her left ring finger. The ring that had been on it for 5 years was gone, but the imprint from wearing it for so long was still there. Harry looked shocked. Really? You're divorced? But I noticed the moment when the corners of his mouth turned up. Lily stood up and pulled him back to his seat. Yeah, divorced. Harry put his hands on the back of her hand, smiling. That's great, Lily. You finally don't have to force yourself to stay by his side. He held her hand tightly. This is a good thing. We should celebrate. Lily didn't seem to care. It's not a big deal. There's no need to celebrate. Of course we have to celebrate, Harry said, raising his voice. I've been waiting for this day for 5 years, Lily. Even if it's just for me, let's celebrate. Seeing the bright smile on his face, Lily didn't want to disappoint him, so she went along with him. The 8th floor of the Continental Hotel was a gilded cage. It was a gathering place for the famous socialites of Boston. After they finished eating, they went up to the 8th floor. I followed them, my body seeming to be out of my control. I didn't want to watch them show off their love like that. When they got to the 8th floor, they happened to run into Lily's friends and a group of men drinking. Harry pulled Lily straight into their private room. Deafening music blasted from the room. Harry wrapped his arm around Lily's shoulders, seeming to declare his ownership. Her friends cheered, filling and emptying glasses of wine. Eventually, Lily was so drunk that she could barely stand. Her head was swimming. She squinted at her watch. It's midnight. I have to go home. Michael doesn't let me come home late. He's always controlling me. It's so annoying. Harry was always by her side and seemed to hear her mumbling to herself. His face darkened slightly. He put his arm around her waist and softly coaxed. Lily, you're divorced now. No one's going to control you anymore, so you don't need to follow any rules about not drinking or coming home early. Divorce? Lily closed her eyes and laughed. That's right, we're divorced. Divorced? Yeah, we're divorced. Seeing how happy she was, I felt like after loving her for so many years, I hadn't gotten even a tiny bit of love in return. She staggered forward and took a glass of wine from someone, downing it in one gulp. A bit of the liquid dripped down the corner of her mouth and onto her neck. Harry stared intently at the enchanting woman, his Adam's apple bobbing. All right, he said, blocking the others from giving her more wine. That's enough for tonight. Lily's drunk. I'll take her to rest. He supported Lily and slowly walked out of the room. Lily silently followed Harry out of the room and took the elevator up to the 60th floor. Come on, Lily, be careful. Harry helped Lily to the door of one of the rooms and opened it with a prepared key card. Come on, let's go inside. Was I really going to have to watch them together? That was too cruel for me. The two entered the room. Harry helped her lie down on the bed. Just as he was about to help her take off her coat, Lily suddenly sat up and pushed him away, her bright eyes not showing much emotion. Harry was stunned for a moment and tentatively asked, "What's wrong?" "I'll get another room." Lily stood up, the dizziness making her sway a few times, almost losing her balance. Lily staggered to the door and happened to bump into the hotel manager walking down the hallway. She had the manager open a room for her and walked into the newly opened room alone, closing the door behind her. I really didn't understand Lily's actions. Wasn't this the day she'd been waiting for so long? Harry's watery eyes gradually turned cold, eventually revealing his anger. He said quietly, "She's already divorced, but she's still guarding her body for that guy." The next morning, Harry got his emotions in check, put on a perfect smile, and walked down from the 60th floor with Lily on his arm. As they walked in the hotel lobby, they ran into a familiar face. The magnificent lobby was bustling with people. Harry and Lily smiled as they looked at someone not far away. It was the hotel's front desk manager, my good friend from childhood, Kevin Olson. I excitedly wanted to run over and tell him not to get involved, but my soul passed right through his body. I sadly remembered that I was already dead. He stood there with his body straightened in a black professional suit, his cold eyes falling on the pair of people leaning on each other. Kevin said sarcastically, "Ms. Thompson, you really know how to play. One at home, a group outside. You're having so much fun." Lily's eyes darkened, but she didn't say anything. Harry stopped smiling and took a step forward, protecting Lily in front of him like a guardian. "Kevin, this is between the three of us. It's none of your business. 5 years ago, Michael used his family's power to force Lily to marry him. If it weren't for him, Lily and I wouldn't have been separated for so long. Besides, Michael's not doing anything with his life now. What help can he give Lily? He's just a freeloader." Kevin looked at Lily provocatively. "Freeloader? Relying on a woman? I've never seen a friend be able to do what Michael did. He threw away his career for a woman." "Shut up." Harry glared angrily at Kevin. "I know what kind of person Lily is. I won't let you slander her like that." "You won't let me? In what capacity won't you let me?" "As a third party." Harry said to Kevin, "I knew Lily before you. Michael was the third party who cut in between us." Kevin sneered. "How I remember it. You were a gold digger back then. You dumped Lily and went abroad with a rich girl." Harry glanced at Lily with a guilty conscience and hurriedly explained, "If Michael hadn't cut in, how could I have left Lily?" "You've got the order backwards." Kevin said dismissively, 5 years is enough time to raise a dog to wag its tail and beg for food, not to mention how I treated Lily so well, giving her everything. In the end, I couldn't even get her to look at me." Kevin stared at Lily. "I hope you really didn't fall in love with him. Otherwise, when you realize what you've lost, you'll understand what it means to regret it forever." Seeing my friend standing up for me like that, remembering that he was the first person to know about my death and how he broke down when he arrived at the hospital and saw my body, I wanted to tell him not to waste any more time on this woman. She wouldn't care at all. But now, Kevin was so angry that he couldn't wait to tear the two people in front of him apart with his own hands. I knew that he hated it in his heart. He hated how useless I was and hated how this woman didn't know what was good for her. When Lily looked at him indifferently, her voice was cold. I don't love him. Kevin sneered. I hope you can remember what you said today. Don't regret it for the rest of your life. Kevin coldly left those words behind and then clenched his fists and turned around and left. Lily drove back to the company and was busy as usual. The hangover from the night before gave her a headache. After a brief break after the meeting, she had her secretary bring in another extra strong coffee. While waiting for the coffee, she took out her personal cell phone that had been quiet all night and looked through it. I looked over at the phone screen. Harry had asked her out to dinner that night, so she sent him a message saying that she had something to do tonight and would reschedule. After sending the message, she flipped through all the messages and call logs back and forth. It seemed like she was looking for something, waiting for something. She lowered her eyes, staying silent for a moment. Just then, Ava walked in with the coffee. Ms. Thompson, your coffee. Lily gave the phone one last glance, raised her eyes to look at Ava, and asked casually, Has Michael called? Ava froze for a moment, then replied, No. Lily lowered her eyes and didn't say anything else. Ava's expression was puzzled. I guess that Lily had probably never asked about me. After all, I was the one who was always fawning over her. After drinking the hot coffee, Lily put down her phone and refocused on her work. At noon, Ava ordered a box lunch for her. Lily ate 2 bites and her eyebrows furrowed again. Where did you order this box lunch? Watching restaurant. Ava thought for a moment and asked hesitantly, Is the food not to your taste? Do you want me to order a new one? Is the one you ordered before from the same place as this one? No. Order from the other place from now on. Ava looked at the president and didn't dare to speak. Lily glanced at her and said quietly, Can't do it. Ava seemed to struggle internally for a moment and confessed. The food from before was all sent by Mr. Thompson. He delivered almost every day, rain or shine, and he was always on time. Because he was afraid you wouldn't eat it, Mr. Thompson specifically told me not to let you know that it was the food he sent, so I didn't tell you. I'm sorry, Miss Miller. I shouldn't have taken it upon myself to do that. Yes, no matter how carefully I used to make food for her, as long as she knew I made it, she wouldn't be willing to taste a bite. From then on, I was careful and tried to please her in a humble way. I didn't ask her to fall in love with me. I only asked her to accept my love. She probably just got used to it and was uncomfortable suddenly changing the taste. Lily didn't say anything. She just waved her hand and told her to leave. Lily looked at the box lunch in front of her, her expression unclear. The food there was average. Every meal I made before was beautifully arranged and carefully made. The taste wasn't particularly good, but it had a homemade flavor in it. She opened her phone again and looked through it, but there were still no new messages. She put down her phone and went back to work. By the time Lily finished handling everything, it was already late. She looked at the time, then she drove back to the mansion. The house hadn't had an owner for 2 days. The servants and maids were conscientiously taking care of the mansion. Seeing Lily come back, the servant was very happy. Madam, you're back. I'll go to the kitchen and have them prepare dinner for you. Lily took off her coat and handed it to the maid. Then she asked the servant, Is Mr. Thompson home? The servant shook her head and said worriedly, Mr. Thompson drove out yesterday morning and hasn't come back yet. Lily said quietly, Haven't prepared dinner? Okay. Had I been gone for 2 days and she didn't notice? Lily went upstairs and returned to our room. After walking around the room, she noticed that it was much emptier. All my things were gone. All the clothes and shoes in my closet were gone, and all my personal belongings had been swept away. A man who had been waiting for her to come home every day for 5 years was also gone. She realized that I had completely left this place, left her. Lily looked at the empty bedroom, and suddenly an indescribable feeling filled her entire heart. She sat down on the couch, her eyes landing on the wedding ring shimmering in the light. This ring was one of a pair with the one she used to wear. She picked up the ring, and a wave gently washed over her deep sea-like eyes. Lily gripped the ring tightly in her hand, her face a bit lost. Maybe she thought I finally chose to leave. The next day, Lily returned to the company on time. The morning meeting was still in progress when Harry arrived in a hurry. After the meeting ended, Lily returned to her office and saw Harry, who had come without an appointment. She was a little surprised. What are you doing here? Harry put down the coffee in his hand and went up to her. I didn't get a date with a busy person yesterday, so I had to come here in person to find you today. Lily sat back in her chair and looked at the mountain of files on her desk. She said helplessly, I might not be that fast. Harry said considerately, It's okay. I'll wait for you to finish. Time passed bit by bit. Before she knew it, an hour had passed. Lily had finished dealing with all the files on her desk and was just about to get up to take Harry to dinner when her phone rang. She looked at the screen and still hesitated to answer it. This was her personal cell phone number, and very few people knew about it. The voice on the other end of the phone was very cold. Lily Thompson, this is Kevin Olson. Come to the police station. Lily asked quietly, What's wrong? Between her and Kevin, there was no other interaction except because of me. Kevin's voice was as cold as ice. Thompson's body is going to be cremated. We need your signature for the cremation process. The cremation process required the signature of the deceased family, and my parents had already passed away. Other than Lily, there was no other family member. Although we had signed a divorce agreement, we hadn't gone through the final divorce procedure. Therefore, in the eyes of the law, Lily was still my only family member. Lily narrowed her eyes. What did you say? Body cremation? Kevin repeated coldly. I said that Thompson's body is going to be cremated. We need your signature. Lily obviously didn't believe him. She said in a deep voice, Are these tricks fun? You'll know if it's a trick when you get here. After saying that, Kevin hung up the phone. The corners of Lily's mouth slightly curled into a sarcastic smile. After hiding for 2 days, he's finally willing to show himself. Harry approached Lily and asked softly, Lily, who was that? Lily came back to her senses and looked apologetically. I'm sorry, Harry. I have something to deal with. I can't have lunch with you. Harry's expression froze, but he quickly put on a smile. It's okay. Work is important. We can have dinner together next time, okay? Okay. She went to the parking lot to get her car and drove to the police station. When she arrived at the police station, she looked indifferent, obviously thinking that this was a trick played by me and Kevin to win her back. She was definitely going to see me with a smug look on my face, but it wasn't. When she arrived at the police station, she only saw Kevin standing among a few police officers, his expression sad. She frowned and walked over. Kevin glanced at her indifferently and said to the police officer next to him, She's Thompson's wife. His voice was also hoarse. Lily asked impatiently, What were you guys doing? One of the police officers comforted her. Please accept our condolences. Lily's pupils shrank slightly, not quite understanding what he meant. I'll take you to see the body first to confirm. She followed the police officer. I really wanted to know what kind of expression she would have when she saw my body and if she would be a little sad. I followed them to a room. There was a bed in the room, and a person was lying on the bed, covered in a white sheet from head to toe. The body has been left for 2 days and 2 nights. The weather is hot now, and the injured parts are starting to rot. The bruises are also coming out. It'll stink soon, so we recommend cremating it as soon as possible. The body. Lily said, I don't quite understand what you're saying. The police officer explained softly, Your husband had a car accident 2 days ago and died on the spot. Lily was a little at a loss after hearing the shocking news. She subconsciously clenched her hands at her side. How is this possible? She didn't believe that the person lying on the bed was me. She walked step by step to the bed, her fingertips trembling slightly as she touched the white cloth, just about to lift it, but pausing. After a long time, she slowly lifted the white cloth. Lily stared blankly at the man in front of her, who was so familiar that he was almost engraved in her bones. She didn't come back to her senses for a long time, just staring at me silently without saying a word. As expected, she was still so cold to me, and I couldn't see any emotion in her eyes. Lily thought back. Kevin sneered, There are no accidents. He was just stabbed in the heart by you and stabbed in the body by a terminal illness. Either way, he couldn't live anymore. Lily, Thompson treated you so well. He never did anything to let you down. You think Thompson restricted your freedom, but he was just a chess piece of family benefit. Yet he had to bear all your hatred and anger. Lily stood there in a daze, her eyes drooping slightly. Lily looked at the confirmation in front of her, and her heart shrank slightly. She slowly signed the confirmation. Lily watched as the body was pushed into the furnace, and the raging fire gradually submerged and devoured me. After the cremation, the staff at the crematorium packed the ashes and took them out. Kevin subconsciously reached out to take them, but Lily took them away halfway. Lily looked at Kevin indifferently, holding the urn. He was my husband. I'll take care of his funeral. No need. Kevin stood in front of her as he said that and reached out to snatch it. Lily hugged the urn tightly and dodged. He was my husband. I'll take care of his funeral, Lily emphasized. Lily returned to the mansion with the urn. She hugged the urn and went back to the room. Lily, who hadn't slept all night, had her hair disheveled and her face was a little tired. She was silent for a moment before hugging the urn, getting up, opening the door, and walking out. When she went down the stairs, Lily missed 2 steps and fell down. She subconsciously held the urn tightly in her arms, afraid that it would collide. Lily carefully placed the urn on the table in the middle of the hall and personally checked all the items needed for the funeral. Michael Thompson was to be buried early tomorrow morning. There were still many things to prepare before the burial. Kevin came over early in the morning, and not long after, Harry and a few classmates came together. Lily's eyes had been fixed on the urn placed on the table, silent and quiet. Harry looked at the table and pursed his lips. He suddenly said, "Maybe this is the best result. He won't be sad because he can't get love anymore, and Lily and I will have no obstacles from now on." Kevin's eyes were red. He looked at Harry, his voice colder than ever. The original partner hasn't been buried yet, and the third party dares to come to the door and talk nonsense, congratulating the future? As he said that, he punched Harry. Harry was about to fight back. Enough! Just as Harry was about to retort, Lily suddenly interrupted in a deep voice, her face not showing much emotion. She just said quietly to Harry, "You can go back now." Harry took a step forward and explained, "Lily, I don't mean anything else. I just think this is a release for the 3 of us. I know you feel guilty, but you can't blame his death on yourself." Lily raised her eyes to look at Harry, her voice much gloomier than before. "Leave now." Harry reached out to grab her arm, but she dodged. Kevin and Lily prepared everything for the funeral together. Lily looked at the dishes placed by the servant in front of her and suddenly remembered the familiar taste of homemade food for the past 5 years, which had unconsciously invaded all her taste buds. Her eyes returned to his smiling face on the wedding photo. She muttered, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." She squatted down and buried her face in her arms, her shoulders trembling. Maybe she remembered the words I had told her. "Lily, after we get married, you can't do anything to let me down. You have to stay away from other men." So she would come home on time every day. Maybe she could remember the little things from before. After we got married, for her first birthday, I carefully made an album for her. For her second birthday, I went to her hometown to learn how to make her special snacks and made them for her to eat. For her third birthday, I personally made a bowl of longevity noodles and brought them to her at 12 a.m. But suddenly, she couldn't find any memories of her fourth birthday. That's right, her fourth birthday wasn't spent with me. That day, Harry called her, and she drove to see him without hesitation. She got up and walked to the cabinet, taking out the album I had given her from the drawer. She looked at the photos one by one. It seemed unbelievable that a person so alive could make her feel a little sad in her heart. On the day of the funeral, the sky began to drizzle. Kevin came over early in the morning, holding a black umbrella and standing silently in front of the tombstone. Many people left after mourning, and in the end, only Lily and Kevin were left in front of the tomb. Lily's eyes were too deep, and it was difficult for others to see any other emotions in her eyes. "When did he get cancer?" Kevin stepped forward and bent down, wiping the rain off the photo with his sleeve. "1 week ago, a few of us had dinner together, and he suddenly had severe abdominal pain and passed out. I sent him to the hospital. The diagnosis report should have been taken the day before he committed suicide. He called me and said some strange things. Lily, compared to the pain that terminal illness brought him, the thing that made him the most desperate was that you didn't love him." Lily didn't know how she got back to the mansion. She ignored everything and walked straight upstairs, returning to the room. There was nothing of Michael's in the room anymore. Lily lay on the bed. It was a little hard. Her hands started to reach around. Finally, she was about to find something I had hidden under my pillow. It was a USB drive. After plugging it into the computer, inside, I had recorded many things, videos, diaries, all related to her. Lily's fingertips trembled slightly. She stared and looked at them one by one. When she flipped to the end, her eyes were inexplicably sore. The last one was written before my accident. "I want to spend a birthday with Lily." "Birthday?" It seemed like she didn't come back until after 12 o'clock that day. Her heart was aching. She carefully recalled everything that had happened that day. Kevin said that she got the diagnosis report on her birthday, and that night she gave him a divorce agreement. He said, "If I die, next life I won't love you again." And she said, "You can tell me when you're dead." Lily's heart seemed to be tightly gripped together, and all the strength in her body was suddenly drained. And my spirit became more transparent. The reason why I didn't want to leave all along was probably just to get an answer. Servant's side story. After the funeral, Madam changed. She went to work and got off work on time as usual, seemingly normal. Even her secretary Ava noticed her abnormality. She used to go to work on time, but rarely got off work on time. But now, as long as it was time to get off work, she would drop everything and go home. And at noon, the president actually brought her own lunch. The lunchbox was exactly the same as the one Mr. Thompson used to bring to the company. For example, when she was working hard, she looked up casually and asked, "Has Mr. Thompson called today?" During the break, when a secretary brought in coffee, Ava froze for a moment and replied, "No." Madam would lower her eyes and mutter to herself, "She's still angry." Ava looked in shock at the woman who had refocused on her work. She went to work and got off work at the company, as usual, every day. After coming back, she would have people send dinner to her room and had to prepare 2 servings for dinner. At night, she often went to the wine cabinet to get a bottle of good wine upstairs, and there were 2 glasses prepared as well. That night, Lily went upstairs with a bottle of red wine as usual, but suddenly stopped in front of the stairs. A smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. "Go prepare some snacks for Mr. Thompson to have with his wine." "Yes," the servant replied. At first, the servant was only focused on the task of preparing snacks. It took her a while to realize the problem, and she was shocked. "Prepare for Mr. Thompson?" Madam." Lily, with her arms still folded, kept her eyes fixed on the empty space beside her and softly replied, She then turned to look at the servant, the smile still on her face. "Mr. Thompson likes to eat snacks when he drinks. Go prepare some." The servant rubbed her eyes, her shock deepening. "Madam, what are you?" Lily frowned slightly, displeasure evident in her eyes. "Michael's right here. Can't you see him?" After saying that, she turned back, fell silent for a moment, and then started talking to herself. "I know. I don't blame her. It's just that you're standing here, and she didn't even see you." Apart from Lily's occasional confusing actions, life seemed to go on as normal. But she often gave everyone the feeling that Michael Thompson was still alive. She treated the imaginary Mr. Thompson extremely well, becoming increasingly accommodating. The kitchen had to make the food he liked, and the sofa in the living room was changed to his favorite color. All these actions clearly showed Lily's deep longing for Michael. Harry learned about Lily's current situation from somewhere and burst into the mansion to find her. When Lily saw Harry, she didn't say a word. She just put the dessert she was holding aside, even though there was no one sitting on the sofa there. Harry looked at her in disbelief. "Michael Thompson is dead. How long are you going to keep lying to yourself?" He grabbed her arms tightly with both hands. Lily pulled away indifferently. "You can go back now. Don't come here again in the future. Michael doesn't like other men coming to the house." Harry stood up, his voice rising. "Are you ever going to wake up? Michael died a long time ago. Can't you even face your guilt and regret?" Lily's face remained expressionless. She reached out and touched the empty air beside her, as if comforting someone. "You can go back now." Harry stared at her, stunned. "What do you mean? I love Michael. You can go. I don't want to see you again." "Then what about me? What am I?" Harry's eyes widened. "You're really deceiving yourself." After Harry left, Lily looked back at the sofa. The gentle person was already gone. She searched everywhere but couldn't find even a trace of him. "Are you angry?" she muttered. Suddenly, her stomach contracted, and she ran into the bathroom, feeling sick. A maid saw this and quickly took out her cell phone to make a call. "Mr. Chun, you should come back. Madam is throwing up." So focused was the maid on the call that she didn't notice Lily approaching from behind until the cold air sent a shiver down her spine. Lily's cold gaze fixed on the maid, and she remained silent. The maid was so scared that she started sweating profusely. "Madam, I didn't mean it. It was Mr. Chun. He asked me to report everything about you. Mr. Chun gave me money to report everything about you and Mr. Thompson at the mansion. On Mr. Thompson's birthday, he asked me to secretly put some photos in Mr. Thompson's room. I refused, but he still sent them to Mr. Thompson with his cell phone. Lily's eyes narrowed. What photos? The maid replied tremblingly. Some intimate photos of him and you, and a pregnancy test report. Lily's eyes sharpened, and an even colder aura emanated from her. She immediately had Ava cut off all business dealings between the company and Harry. Overnight, Harry lost everything. He searched everywhere for Lily, like a madman, at the company, the mansion, and the restaurants and entertainment venues she often went to, but he didn't even catch a glimpse of her. He was like a headless fly, with nowhere to vent his anger. Lily still lived a monotonous life, shuttling between the company and the mansion every day. When she got home, she still had people prepare 2 dinners and send them to her room. Occasionally, she would go downstairs to get a bottle of red wine and return to her room with 2 glasses. A year later, on Michael Thompson's death anniversary, Lily brought a bouquet of baby's breath to visit his grave. She finally accepted the fact that he was gone. She stayed there quietly the whole day, without saying a word. It was not until night fell that she got up and left. On the drive back, it started to rain heavily. She saw a truck in the adjacent lane lose control and crash towards her. Her hand instinctively wanted to turn the steering wheel, but in that split second, she remembered the lifeless body she had seen at the police station last year. She released the steering wheel. It's fine. With a deafening crash, Lily fell into darkness forever. When her spirit floated out of her body, she saw a familiar back at the end.